everyone, check it out. So we are now on our last enemy sprite, which is the oil can of toxic waste sludge. So you're gonna see that it's gonna appear at the top, random position, and then fall and kind of shift as well. So let's figure out how to code this. So what we did again is we duplicated our last enemy, which was the jellyfish, by double clicking on the touchpad, right clicking on a mouse, or holding down on a touch screen. We hit duplicate so that all of the useful code that we need goes into the next sprite. And I named it Toxic right away. We want to always name our sprites. And then in the costumes, I got rid of the other costumes that we don't need anymore. Again, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause and rewind. I go fast in the videos so that they're not long, easier to upload and easier to watch. Okay, so what we need to do is code this 3 costume sprite so that it damages our hero and that it randomly picks a spot up here on the stage and then drops down. So let's go to our code. When we start the game, forever, if our distance is greater than, and then you pick a number. So that means when we start the game, I'm going to mute it, the sound, that once our hero starts moving and this distance variable starts to increase, once we get greater than 50, so once we get to 51, boop, or 51 and above, that means that'll trigger the oil sludge tank, the toxic tank, to randomly appear and start falling and doing damage. Okay? You can always pick your own distance here. Then what we said is set the size of this sprite, because it's kind of big in here if you look in the drawings, to 50%. That way it's not so big on the stage. And then we said, then you can show. We also told it to set the rotation style to all around. Now in the previous sprites we only used left and right so that our sprites wouldn't flip upside down. But I thought it'd be cool if this oil barrel would kind of be flipping around as it's falling. There you can see it right there rotating. So we set the rotation style to all around. And this block is in our motions. And you scroll down here and it says set rotation style to all around. Oh no, we lost. That's okay. We're just going to focus on this for now. Then here's where you get the really cool motions, okay? There's 2 blocks here. We said go to a random, and that's here, pick random, X position. And remember, X is left to right. If we go to our stage and we look at our backdrops, X is left to right and Y is up and down. So we say go to a random left and right position on the X. That way it'll pick a random place up here at the top. And then we also said for the Y, make sure you're up here at the top. So let's go to the code. And I said pick a random position for X and then glide, we say glide, to Y negative 200. Okay, this is going to glide all the way down here. Now, I kind of made a mistake here because I didn't first tell it to go to the top. So I definitely want a go to the random X again, but be at the top, which would be Y 200. So I want it to start up here. So I can duplicate this. And I can tell it to wait 1 to 6 seconds. And go here. Oops. We want this to be before it shows. Let me just move these items, get rid of this extra weight. So go to that random position on X, anywhere left and right, from 150 to negative 150, and positive 200Y up here. The reason I don't pick a bigger number than this is I don't want the barrel to pick a position that's all the way on the edge in the back or front. So this is a good space from left to right. Okay, now it's going to glide in 4 seconds to a random position on X. So that means it can change. It can be going over here. It can go over here to positive. And it's going to go to negative 200Y, which is at the bottom. Okay? Now, I split this into two 4-second glides. So it's going to like glide 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it can also switch and go back. Actually, no, I don't need this second block. If I stopped at 0, Y0, which would be the middle, and then had another block, that's where we would do this. Like kind of like what we did with the jellyfish, but we don't need that. So we can get rid of this second glide too. I'm pulling it out, tossing it over there. And when it gets to negative 200 at the bottom, we want it to hide. And while it's invisible, hiding, go back up to the top. So that's why I have this go to. And since we added it at the top, we can actually get rid of that. And we want it to hide and then wait 1 to 6 seconds before it goes back up to the top and respawns. So this is the cooldown time. All right. That's going to be our motion. Now let's look at our animation. This is pretty easy. It's going to be when the game starts. Once we reach that critical distance that we already decided over here, greater than 50 in my game, and if the Y position is 150, or sorry, less than 150, that means if the Y position is way down here, then start doing your costume motions. The reason I picked the Y position being less than 150, I'm sorry, not way down here. Less than 150 would be right here at the top. The reason I picked that animation distance is I didn't want it to start flipping around and making sounds until it comes onto the screen. So that's why I said it's basically as soon as it gets below 150, as soon as it drops onto the screen, start animating. Okay? And that's toxic waste 1, 2, and 3. Again, you can get these operators. It looks like this. There's 2 separate ones. There's 2 separate ones. And you put them in an and. Okay. The other piece, there's only 2 more pieces here, is the glug sound, which is that it's going to turn on as soon as we drop below 150, and it will turn off if the Y position is greater than negative 130. So negative 130 is down here. It's going to be on in between positive 150, so basically 149, and negative 129. And then the sound will turn off, because otherwise this sound will be playing the entire game. So this is giving you kind of a range, right? A top range and a bottom range. Okay, and this is a triple and, so you can see the blocks there. And whenever you're looking for X position and Y position, that's down here at the bottom of your motions. Okay, so there's that. Pause and take a look at that. And to get it to rotate is the forever turning 20 degrees. That is going to be over here, your turning degrees. You can use any number there. And I just have a wait to kind of slow down the turn, otherwise it turns really fast. And last but not least, make sure that it's when it's touching the hero, it's changing that HP for the hero by -1 or whatever you want. And this is a cooldown. That's why I added wait 2 seconds, or it'll continuously take away the damage. The other piece to this toxic waste is the toxic 2 sprite. And this is like a trail that I wanted. That way it causes damage to the hero. And this is another sprite that I said it has the same parameters, where if the distance is greater than 50, you're going to change the size by 50%. I always do a clear graphics effect. And I use the ghost effect here. What this is going to do, it's going to make it look a little invisible. So that way you can kind of still see the ocean in between it. Ghost effect is fun. So if something swims behind it, you can still kind of see through it. You can change this ghost effect to whatever percent you want. I can go 65. It's a little bit more see-through. And then the rotation for this is only left and right. I don't want the trail spinning like the barrel. And I told it basically go to our toxic sprite. See, you have sprites in here. Go to the toxic sprite, but change the Y by 40, positive 40. So it's going to go to the sprite and then it's going to move up by 40 degrees. That way it's always kind of trailing our barrel. So wherever our barrel is, it's going to be positive 40. It's a little bit higher than that barrel. Okay? And then the other piece is that it's going to its next costume. That way it looks like it's moving. That's just two costumes that are flipping back and forth. And the way we do that is we select it, we say flip it horizontally for our second one. Okay. And then it's going to show. And then if it happens to go below negative 130, then hide. Okay, that's basically telling it when to disappear. All right. So not too difficult there. Hide when the green flag is clicked. And those are our other damaging sprites, just like before. Damage it by H1. The last thing we didn't do is tell our hero to flash when he touches the toxic waste. So here you can duplicate your already hero damage script and just change it to toxic waste. Let's clean these up. And you can also duplicate it again for the toxic trail. Clean these up again. So it's toxic and toxic trail, toxic 2, which will allow you to see your shark getting hurt. Right there. And it has a cooldown of, or the ouch repeats 3 times so you can see them flash. And that's it, guys. Now your toxic waste is actively in the game. Now, this is a pretty cool game. You got a lot of enemies. Next will be our boss fights. Keep enjoying your coding and have fun. Stop and rewind if you get lost. Peace.